Hello, everybody. It's Christine McDaniel here with the Co-Living Code show. Every single week, I get to talk to operators and founders and residents, investors, builders, real estate developers in the co-living world, and an amazing world it is. So today I'm going to actually read the bio and kind of go into who we're interviewing, because we have two guests again today, which this is always fun when we have two guests simultaneously. This is actually K9, which is Tech Farm. It's in Stockholm, Sweden, and they started in November 2016, and it was founded as like a tech farm property by Lisa and Fredrik. And it was inspired by similar projects in San Francisco. So Lisa had previously opened and ran 4 years a similar yet smaller project in Old Town of Stockholm called House 24. And then in 2016, Lisa and Fredrik took over 4 floors of a former hotel in the heart of Stockholm and turned it into a home for 50 people, which that actually we'll definitely talk more about that. And it has been and still is an incredible and challenging journey. K9 today is completely self-ran, and each responsibility that needs to be taken care of to make such a community work is volunteer-based. So when moving in, each person is invited to take part in the community depending on their ability and time through a system of teams taking care of different areas. And those areas being community and culture, on and offboarding, management communication, maintenance, beauty and space, economic association. So we're really going to kind of dive in, because I know a lot of people listening and watching would love to know like how that's done, within a concept. They have a monthly house meeting to address tactical and governance concerns, issues, and suggestions. And then finally, included in their rent is a small house budget that they use to buy shared supplies such as spices, teas, coffee, detergent, and so forth. And with the remaining money, they try to fund community and growth building activities, workshops, events, and even more. And so we have 2 of those amazing volunteers on the show today, and residents. So they'll go into depth. They've actually, the concept's been around for 2 years. They've both lived there for a year and a half. I know that the founders, we were talking before we started, the original founders had some stuff come up, and so they moved on. And again, the residents that were in the home and in the concept took over and divvied everything up. So why don't you guys each introduce yourselves, and we'll go from there.
My name is Morgane. I'm French. I've been living in Sweden for about 10 years. And I moved in a little bit more than a year and a half ago. And I work part-time as a community manager in a startup hub.
And hi, I am Marika. I'm from Italy. I moved to Sweden 1.5 years ago, and then pretty much as soon as I moved into the house. And I'm in Stockholm because I studied my PhD in one of the medical university here. So I definitely am not an entrepreneur or a startup person. Most of the people in the house are, but not all of us.
Perfect. And then is there 30 people total in the concept, or how many people?
Right now, actually, we got the numbers, the latest numbers today or yesterday.
Yeah.
So we are 46 at the moment.
All in one big building?
Yes, correct.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Yes, it used to be a hotel, so actually it's quite convenient because the setup is still the same. So we have access to 4 floors, and in total, I think we have 1,100 square meters, which, by the way, get cleaned. So part of our house budget is also dedicated for the cleaning of the house, common spaces, and also private spaces. And so we have different rooms. They have different sizes. So we have single rooms, double rooms. So we share a double room, for example. And then each room has a proper bathroom. So it's a very different kind of co-living. It's a proper hotel. It looks like it, at least. And then, of course, we have a very big shared spaces. And some rooms, actually, there are some people that are sharing a room in 4 people in the pod rooms, and then there's 6 people in a bunk bedroom. So we have different type of accommodation in the house.
No, but that's great because it makes it more affordable, right? So somebody sharing with 5 other people in one area, versus a private room.
Yes.
And then your guys' common areas, do you guys have like a large kitchen, living space?
So, sorry.
No.
Each floor has its own kitchen, but actually we're totally free to move from floor to floor. So it's not like because you're on this floor, you have to use this kitchen. But so we have like, we actually have 5 kitchens because one floor has 2 kitchens. Yeah. They're different sizes. The biggest one is on the 2nd floor. And then we have a very big living room area that is kind of like a TV room, and also like a co-working space during the day because lots of people are working from home. We also have a place we call the Zen room, which is a very nice and cozy room where a lot of us are meditating or doing yoga or taking meetings sometimes. And a couple of more spaces, smaller spaces, which are like lounges or small rooms we can like close the door to and take a meeting or a phone call and stuff like that.
And then do people stay nightly, weekly, monthly, annually? Like, is there all lease terms, or do you guys have a minimum?
Usually when we move in, we really care about the community. So we really invite people that we know are not going to live for a short amount of time. Usually the turnover is around 1 year and something. Well, what was that? A little bit more than 1 year, right?
Actually, I think it's 11 months.
11 months. Okay. Yes.
Almost a year.
Yes. So definitely, no, it's not short term. It's definitely when people move, it's a long term. And if they want to move out, they need to give a 3-month notice. So it's
a 3-month notice.
Yes. If they find somebody, if we find, because like we have a recruitment process, and then if we find somebody that could rent the room before this 3-month notice, then it's better. So the person can move before and somebody else can take their place. But otherwise, no, it's a 3 month, which is actually somehow good because at least we know that people are really committed when they move in.
No, you're right. That's amazing. And it just helps foster that community. So what are some other ways you guys build community within the co-living home, within K9?
That's an ongoing question and process, and it's fascinating and very challenging. Obviously, there's so many of us, and we come from different cultures and different ages, and we all have our own definition of how we want to see the community grow. But we have some pretty basic things that are like onboarding, which is obviously logistic, but as well we try to create this kind of like initiation feeling when someone come in and feel at home immediately. We organize, as everybody's free to come up with activities and workshops and suggestions for anything we can do together. The thing we do the most, and even without noticing it, is we foster community by eating together, spending time in the kitchen, having breakfast, having brunches, organizing lunches or dinners. I think actually we only have one American person in the house, but we did Thanksgiving last year. Just an excuse to sit together at the table and cook together. And so I would say that's our main community builder at the moment. But we keep brainstorming about how can we bring ours closer.
And is it mostly European? Because you said it's really diverse. Is it mostly Europeans? Is it mostly, you had one American there?
We're looking at the numbers that we just got yesterday, actually. So actually, sorry, go ahead.
No.
It's mostly Swedes, obviously.
Yeah.
But then we actually have 16 different nationalities. So after Swedes, it's Danish, and then Indian, and then a bunch of us from everywhere in Europe, basically.
And then what's the demographic as far as like guys and girls? Is it pretty split?
Yeah, it's again the numbers.
Oh yeah, sorry. We keep opening.
Yeah, it's a little bit more guys actually, which is it's what is it?
It's here.
Yeah, 31 guys so far and 15 girls. So we are trying to recruit more girls. I guess like somehow guys are more keen overall to share. I don't know. I guess maybe that's one of the reason, or maybe it's a little bit scary for a girl to move in a house where you have a mixture of guy and girls. Well, for a guy, it's fine, I guess. That's one of the main thing. And then also, I guess this tech farm name might be a little bit focused, like it might look like we are focusing on tech. And maybe, I'm not sure, but that could be overrepresented by males than respect to females. But I mean, again, this is not the case because the house is open to basically anybody. So you don't need to have a job in tech to be part of Tech Farm.
Yeah, no, and that was my next question. So yeah, maybe Morgane, you can answer that. Like, so originally, was that the plan, was to have people only in tech move in, and did that change over time?
So, I mean, the story of the name, from what I've heard, is that was a way to bring together the city, so the busy life and the work life. That was the word tech, and then the word farm was more like bringing also the living in nature and more slow-paced life of the farm life. So that was kind of like the idea behind it. It's true, I believe that at the beginning, the idea of having entrepreneurs getting together and, you know, maybe kind of like encouraging each other to create more and co-work and co-live. That probably was the idea at the beginning, but very quickly I think they realized that by letting people from all backgrounds come in actually brought much more value to everyone. So now we really have different jobs. I mean, we've had a professional ballet dancer, we have a couple of architects, we have one of us, the doctor, we had a food marketing person, a lawyer, a bunch of designers. I teach yoga on the side, so there's lots of different stuff. Yeah.
And then do you guys, again, when you're over 30 or 40 residents, do people silo off and kind of build their own communities within the big community, you think?
Yes and no. I mean, I think 46, so the number we are now, is still kind of maybe the threshold where it's still possible to feel like a big family. I think more than 50 is getting really difficult. So of course, since with different ages, well, I think the youngest person is 21, the oldest is 54. So of course, also in ages, we find maybe affinities or, but yeah, some people get along more than others, obviously, like in life, but I do believe that we actually do a lot with different people and different groups.
Yeah.
And then do you guys host any events? Like, I mean, I know you do events internally, obviously, but do you guys have events where you invite other people into the community?
Yeah. We just had one event yesterday. It was a sort of canine TED talk, where what was the theme? Self-leadership, yes. So different people had a different talk. We had 4 speakers, 2 were from the house and 2 were guest speakers, and the event was open also for people from the outside, and they could come and we had some, what was that, 2 hours, had some something to eat, something to drink, and then we were just like listening to these people asking questions. It was very nice and inspiring to see something like that. It's like free time for everybody, and it's nice to see that we can still have such a great and stimulating way to hang out together.
Yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Of course, the risk when you have such a big community is that you kind of withdraw a little bit from the outside world, because you have everything you need. Actually, you have everyone you need. So we try a bit to be to make sure that we open up a little bit more, at least open up our doors so we don't have to go out, but people can come in.
Very good.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love that. And then, so let's see, what are your guys's, and you guys can each answer separately, what's your guys's favorite part about co-living?
You want to go first?
Oh, wow. That's an interesting one. For me, it's definitely how it's transformed me. I mean, I always thought I was a person who was very shy and introvert and didn't like people. And within a year and a half, I really realized that, yeah, I've learned so much. It sounds very cliche, but so much about myself, about how I relate to other people, and actually realize how much I love people and need people around me, and how I learn from every single person here. And living like this really forces you to understand yourself more. And so that is a wonderful, plus to your life to have that. But then on a very basic thing is also just eating together. I love waking up in the morning and going to the kitchen and having everyone sharing breakfast. I think that's just wonderful.
It's great.
Yeah, I agree with everything she said, of course. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people, when they ask me, why would you do that? Why would you like want to pay money to share things with people? I mean, don't you want your private space? But I mean, apart from the fact that we do have a lot of private space in here, so that's very important to understand. It's not like we are on top of each other. We have a lot of space, and sometimes you can go by without seeing anybody, which for me is the opposite. I really want to see a lot of people around. But yeah, I think one of the best thing about co-living is that you don't feel alone. You feel surrounded by people that really care about you. So that's the difference between, I mean, a student dorm. This is not out of necessity. People don't live together because they cannot afford to rent out a place for themselves. Actually, this place is quite expensive in comparison with your own apartment, because we live in a very expensive area of Stockholm, unfortunately, but this was the property at the time that was available. So what I'm trying to say is that it's a choice that we make, and we actively decide to be part of the community. So it's nothing like sharing only a place. It's actually sharing your life, sharing your ideas, sharing your personality, and adapting to everybody. And because we are from different culture, that adds an extra layer of challenges for sure, but also of like beauty and how much you can really learn from each other. I would never be able to live in a different way. I think now this is the way I want to keep living.
I love that. I love that. No, and I'm the same, right? I've been co-living for years and I can't imagine like any other way.
Yeah.
And even when they would leave on vacation, you know, I'm like, where is everybody? I miss everybody. Like I would get
so much.
Okay, so I have two more questions. So one is, what technology are you guys using to do all the bookings and events and communication with each other in the house?
So when someone want to move in or apply to
Mm-hmm.
move in, then they just use the website. And then we have one resident who he's the only actually the only person who gets paid to do this, because it's really quite an intense part of the job, is to just recruit the people. So he gets those applications, and then he goes through a whole process of meetings and meeting with residents from the house. I mean, it's a whole long process. And so that's one thing. Then we use Slack. We love Slack. We have so many channels. Oh my god. And yeah, it's mainly Slack. And then we have Facebook for events. Yeah.
Yes. And that's a way we use Google Drive just to keep our documents and to keep track of things like mailboxing and where everybody like is living, the number of the rooms, because of course it's very big. So we really need to keep track of who is living where everybody moves, and who is part of the team, because we have different teams. So that's basically that's all. And
I think that's all. Yeah.
Nice. And then so how occupied? Do you guys stay 100% occupied? Do you have a waiting list, or do you guys always have vacancies?
No, we are, I mean, yeah, we always, apart from now, because like the top floor was just opened back. It was open in the past, and then they had a project that it didn't work, so they just reopened. So this is a very weird time where we do have openings, and we are looking for. So some of the rooms are not rent, but usually we're completely like booked, and there is a waiting list. And yeah, definitely.
Perfect. And then my last question that I ask every single guest is, where do you girls see the future of co-living as like a whole industry going?
Wow. I think I mean, once again, it sounds so cliche, but I think it's the future of living.
Yes.
Not only because I think it's wonderful, but for so many reasons in big cities right now. I mean, the price of living, I mean, it's so difficult to get your own place, especially in Stockholm. But also how lonely people are, and how this is the answer to so many issues that we have. It's still, I think the term co-living is scaring a lot of people, because they still have this image of a bunch of like hippies not working, taking drugs, and we really try hard to change that. And it's popping up a little bit everywhere. I mean, I'm from France, and I see now in Paris there's more and more people talking about this, and so I think it has a bright future in front of, it has a bright future, but I think there's a lot to do about what people's ideas are and cliche or like images they have in their heads about co-living. So yeah,
but I guess like the more co-livings are opening, and the more like we're sharing the stories like in this way, for example. So thank you so much for this initiative. The more people get to listen a little bit more and get more comfortable with the idea and understanding that it's not one house of weird people, but it's actually like, you know, something that is happening a little bit everywhere and it's growing. So no, definitely I believe is the future. I'm 100% sure that yes, they will be growing. Yes.
Nope, I'm with you, girls. I believe that, obviously, 110%. So thank you so much for letting me interview you. It's really nice. You know, again, usually we have the operators, but we've had developers, we've had residents on before. It's been a while. So it's fun, you know, once you guys reached out, like, this is awesome, because you get to speak, you know, because you guys get to speak from experience of living, you know, a year and a half in this concept, and that you guys, you know, collectively manage. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, that's, you know, it's not just managing a house with 5 people. It's like a whole community, and you guys should be super proud and just getting the word out. And you're right. Like, just, I think the more and more people talk about co-living and see that it's, you know, you have your PhD, it's like, it's real people that like are not hippies that are co-living. And it's all ages. So that was one of my questions. I'm glad you guys had talked about, you know, the age range in, you know, in your guys' concept. So thank you so much. And I'm in Amsterdam for these 3 months. I hope I can I know it's a short, like 2-hour flight. So hopefully I can make it over to Stockholm. I've heard amazing things, and I haven't been to Sweden yet. So
awesome. You should.
Yeah, I will reach out and see if I could come over.
Oh yeah, you will have a room in here. No worries. We have a lot of
Yay! That's awesome. Okay, you two, thanks so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.